Melville. They lead it 5-3.
Farmingdale's gone to 2 short sticks now in the midfield, add a little more offensive power.
But it doesn't help him. Here's Sanders picking it up right off the face-off. Quick look for Selig. And didn't see anything there, so he'll wisely set it up. Josh Selig plays like a upperclassman. He's only a junior.
And that showed a lot of poise right there, Barry. He didn't force the shot. He saw he didn't have it. He pulled it out.
Selig working on Bardak. On the crease. Oh, a good look. But the shot by Mills, who has 2 goals, goes wide as he had cut down nicely. Jared Mills, sort of a surprise here. Everybody talked about other players in the midfield, but he's played very well.
Well, I said the competition's so intense at Ward Melville that you get better in practice or you just don't play.
And that's one of the things that Joe Cuso spoke about that makes his team so good is the balance, Barry, and that's exactly what we're seeing here is good balance at the midfield.
He was a 3rd midfielder last year, Mills. Moved up to play in their top 6. Carney trying to defend Mott, and Mott works it behind. Carney big and strong. Carney at 6'2", 215. Senior going to University of North Carolina, Greensboro, along with Brian Ime. Again, Mott still controls the stick very well. Has able to really control the defenseman there. Got the shot off. Tufano will play it. And in and out of the crease, another mistake on the part of Farmingdale. Something Tufano doesn't do very often.
No, I think he's a little bit rattled too. He's not used to this kind of pressure. He hasn't had it all year long, and he's making. There's another mental error that Farmingdale has made.
And there was Josh Selig riding hard, their best defensive attackman in terms of ability to come up with ground balls there, Josh Selig.
And of course, Joe feels that he's got a great future, and he's just getting better as an attackman.
He's just a tremendous future. Division I, before he's finished, he's going to be one of the best they've had. Straz's pass goes away, so an uncharacteristic mistake on the part of Ward Melville. What was interesting in the first half, they didn't commit any penalties. They played smart and did not give Farmingdale a man up. Let's go to Carl Reuter on the field.
Barry, I spoke to Bob Hartenrath right before the start of the second half. I asked him his observations on that first half. He said 2 things we have to work on. Number 1, we have to cut down a little bit more on JJR line, getting in a little bit too tight along the crease, and he thought he got tied up a little bit too much into Melville's play. He said we have to get back to Farmingdale style of play.
Cavallo checked from behind. Oh, and bodies go flying over there. You saw number 18, who was Justin Donatin, on the ride and helped force a turnover there.
Again, I think Farmingdale's paying the price of playing, and it's not really their fault, but playing such an easy schedule that they're not used to the pressure that Ward Melville's really putting on them. It was an example. Got the ball. He was not really sprinting upfield. The attackman caught him from behind.
That was Justin Donatin. He's used exclusively in riding situations, a 5'10 sophomore.
And he was hit by Carney at 6'2", 215. And Carney put a hit on the Ward Melville player.
All right, here's Sanders against Jay Penn. Going to his left side. He's a lefty. And they'll have a backer, so it'll still be Ward Melville ball. As you know, in the first half, Ward Melville outshot him by almost a 2-to-1 margin, 15-8.
They're taking advantage of every mistake that Farmingdale makes, and that's really been the key to the ball game so far.
So it'll be put in play right here. Ward Melville leading it 5-3. Early 3rd quarter. Selig moving on Carney, beats him and scores.
That isolation is just killing Farmingdale.
And here's where I really think they miss a Kirk Blockrell who has the speed to stay with a Josh Selig, and maybe a guy like Carney doesn't have that speed.
That's right. It takes their defense a little bit out of sync, but Ward Melville's game plan is just excellent. Go one-on-one and force Farmingdale to slide. They're not used to doing it.
And they're even going to make it difficult for the slide too, Bob. And as you see it again on the replay, Selig going against Carney. He's got him beat. He protects the stick real well. Carney trying to go for the overhead check, no stick there to check, and there's just no backup because everybody else is cleared out to the opposite side of the field.
And again, Bardock was behind the goal guarding his man on that and couldn't help. He should come up and be parallel to the crease line so he could be the next slide, or at least show his face to help out.
27th goal of the year for Josh Selig, who not only is a great young lacrosse player, Kerry, how about this in the classroom? He's number 7 in the junior class and had 1,400 on the SATs.
And as a junior, that's really saying something. He's got a great future, not only in lacrosse, which I think is also outstanding, but I think is in every walk of life. I think I see a really fine athlete, a competitor, and an academician.
And he's an all-county
Amazing,
soccer
that was
player.
easy to say.
Speaking of academics, Gary, let's see you spell that.
Do you think Bill Tierney might be chatting with him, the Princeton coach, at all?
Really up top is slough
Let's
down.
join the
We're
Farmingdale
not locking anymore, right? Slough down, you got to go down to get the crease. In other words, there's 2 up top. You're in a 1-3-2. Everybody understand that? This guy up top goes down to help on the crease. We don't care if they throw it up top, ceiling, and you jump them. You got to jump. Okay, you got to start slide. Put the square out for the ball.
Now listen, if we got something clean, we take it. If we have nothing clean, we go back to base O. All right? We want to chase it in the defensive end. We want to still place. We're still in a 2-3-1 with a 4 when the ball gets down here. All right?
Come on, Green.
But when Fox switches the jet, the guy's saying to lock him off. I don't know what that's.
All right, watch.
2, 3. Let's go, Come on, offense.
So play about ready to resume right here. Farmingdale down by 3, and a concerned look on the part of the Farmingdale coaching staff.
Jason Sanders, obviously, and you'll notice Ward Melville has both their wingmen playing on the defensive side. They have Drum with the long stick up at the wing, and of course Farmingdale trying to go with the offense, short sticks to try and come up with this ball.
But it doesn't work. Jason Sanders wins it cleanly. First time that Ward Melville is led by 3. Farmingdale calling that timeout to try to settle things down here. Jared Mills will join Belford and Sanders on the midfield. Now they'll swing it back up top to Belford.
Matty there.
This is Nagel. They're not playing with a crease man right now. Nagel has the ability to play on the wing, so they don't always have to set him up in the crease. Selig will take it behind against Bardak. So they've gotten him out of the zone right now.
They're trying. They had nothing.
Selig, look on the crease for Mills, cutting down nicely. Tufano looks for a fast break opportunity, and this was Farmingdale needs a goal here, Bob Rule. They need something to get.
Yes, they've got to push the ball upfield, look for opportunities.
You know, they wanted to slow it down, but it hasn't worked 6-on-6. They have been beaten in the one-on-one situations, and now they've got to create a little tempo carry.
Well, I'll tell you, down at that last, the other end of the field right there, Mills had his man beat. If that pass was a little bit of a lead pass as opposed to behind Mills, I think we'd see the Patriots up another goal. And look where they're
Fox
playing.
Drive Ryzanek out toward midfield. Ryzanek has not been a major factor at all in this game. Loses the ball here, the little hustler. Mills with a hit. Zucchelli kicks the ball, played without his stick. And let's see what the call will be here.
Well,
I think we're going to just get a hold.
Loose ball hold. It'll still be
you're seeing Ward Melville
ball.
play with increasing confidence. When a defenseman comes out and plays his attack all the way to the midfield line, they have a lot of confidence that they'll back up, that his defense is going to be right behind him.
6:38 to go here in the third quarter.
Well, I think you're right, Bob. I think just the way that Melville's playing offensively and defensively at both ends of the field, I think you can see they're gaining confidence that they know that they're in control of this game right now.
Well, Zucchelli scored right off the first shot of the game, but it's been Ward Melville right after that. They came back, took the lead, led 3-1 at the end of one, 5-3 at the half. Here's Zucchelli moving in. Bounce shot. Lakey will pick it up. Checked out of his stick by Fox, who has some great takeaway checks, and just knocked it away, stripped him. And here's Catrano on the clear, chased from behind. He'll bring it across. Over to Covino. And Ward Melville at this juncture definitely in command here. 4 minutes gone.
And they're eating the time up, too. They've had control of the ball probably 3 out of the last 4 minutes.
And Catrano showed great foot speed on that clear, Barry.
And no question about it. He could play midfield, be an all-county midfielder, Joe Cuso was talking about.
The one thing he'll learn with experience, he should have pushed the ball up to the midfielder who was in the corner a little bit quicker.
Selig looking on the crease for a cutting teammate Straza, but it was broken up. And here they come on a fast break opportunity. Zucchelli to Ryzanek. In front now. Score for Russ Lakey. And oh, did Farmingdale ever need that one? Off the transition, it's 6-4 with 5:31 to go in the third quarter.
Well, that was was a real big goal for the Dalers. They definitely needed that. But what helped them a lot too, Barry, was the fact that Melville got one of their midfielders caught back on the to keep on sides, and so it was 6-on-5 at this end of the field, which allowed Lakey to get in that tight.
Again, Lakey has had 2 chances on the corner this time, or 3 chances. He makes good this one.
Here's Zucchelli leading the break carry.
And he's got good foot speed. He leaves his midfielder back, and now you'll see the dump right there by Ryzanek, and look how nice and open Lakey is, because they forced the defenseman to come up to pick up that midfield position because Melville got short with the midfielder onside.
However, Farmingdale can't keep the momentum going. Sanders, who has done a great job against Baxo, wins the faceoff. We'll give you the faceoff numbers in a moment. As Ward Melville, leading by 2, will play the ball. Mott working behind. Oh, gets the defender to go down. And a score in close. Great work that time. Josh Selig, as a defenseman, tripped on the net, but it was the quick moves of John Mott forcing the defenseman perhaps to trip himself up.
Great eyes to see a cross case to Josh Selig. It was an excellent feed, right play.
That is what I think you were alluding to earlier, Barry, when you talked about that set play between Mott and Selig. Now here you see Mott with the ball behind the cage.
Carney.
And that was Carney who goes down. And what a great feed by Mott to find Selig on the crease on the weak side.
Did you see how Baxo was just a little slow coming down the field for the defenseman who had to go slide because the other defenseman fell down? The Farmingdale doesn't look alert out there.
Second goal of the game for Selig, his 28th of the year. And again, this is a defense which only the most goals I think they gave up in any game was 4 this year, when and now they have given up a total of 7. And again, Sanders wins the face-off here, which has been a big story in this game as well. Jason Sanders with his club again holding a 3-goal lead. Ward Melville has won 7 of the 12 face-offs. And that bodies go flying down. Nagel went down. Tufano trying to get the ball away from Selig. Selig almost stepped into the crease.
Tufano made a great save there again on that shot by Nagel. That was a real big save, because had Farmingdale given up the goal there, I think they would have been in trouble.
Down by 3 with 4:25 to go. They've been a club that can explode late in the game. They've got the offensive power to do it. And Zucchelli now will work with Townsend in the midfield.
What I like about Ward Melville is that Farmingdale comes down and scores. Ward Melville goes right down and within a minute scores the next goal.
Now, psychologically, that's so important. And now Baxo replaces Townsend, and DeRupo will join the midfield. Zucchelli's shot. And they'll still have a backer. It'll still be Farmingdale ball. Trano, excellent position in the goal. You don't see him rarely caught out of position.
I can't fault him on any of the goals he's given up so far. I mean, he's been, as you said, he's been in good position. And he's cleared the ball real well. He looks like a real good field general out there.
Well, Petrano just a junior, as is Tufano. Be an interesting battle for the Empire State team. These two guys certainly candidates. Scramble for the ball. Ward Melville. Tahini got it up to Drum. Drum trying to get it to our line. He'll take a hit. Kardak leveled him. A clean hit. But Selig picks it up with the left hand. He'll look for a dump on the crease, but it's broken up. He looked for Mott on the crease.
I think Josh Selig should have taken the shot through the screen there. He's a little too generous with that feed.
Sometimes the juniors will give it up for the seniors, and that has he done this year, Kerry.
Yeah, he has. He's deferred to the seniors, and we're going to get a penalty.
Against Ward Melville, delayed penalty. DeRupo moving in here. Nope,
No,
it's going to go against Farmingdale.
I think it's going to be a trip.
I think it's a trip.
You're right. It is going to be against Farmingdale. On the offense, oh, that hurts when you got a transition going.
And this is a big, I mean, it's a cliche to say a big extra man, but Farmingdale really has to hold him now.
See if we can spot the trip here. Tahini is 27. Ryzanek gets the foot and catches him.
Yeah, there it is, and that is obviously a trip against Farmingdale. Again, another golden opportunity right now for Melville to take advantage of this penalty.
Man up for Ward Melville. Remember, they scored earlier, but that was a 6-on-4 2-man advantage. They're 1 for 2. 99.
They're calling
They're going to call it a hold.
Oh.
How do you hold around the foot?
Oh.
Look more.
Hold?
Should have been, well, they only go for 30 seconds. However, DeRupo's in the box. Do they have 2 men down? No. They have 1 man down. There's actually 2 guys standing in the box there. DeRupo.
A hold?
Well, I think that would be very generous to Farmingdale.
Now, Lakey is going to replace Ryzanek in the box there. So, back to the action. 6-on-5. Ward Melville leading by 3. 3:05 to go, third quarter. Class A championship game of Long Island. Belford. Selig up top. Roth trying to get it. Carney hustling after it. Roth going down.
That's why you tell those big sticks on man-down defense, keep those sticks up and protect against that looping pass, which is exactly what Carney did there.
And he had a little bit of a mistake where when he went for the ball, he reached with one hand instead of two and really protect the stick. They got checked again, and the ball rolled out of bounds.
Russ Lakey serving the 30-second penalty. About 15 seconds still remaining in the Farmingdale penalty. They have possession, however. Down by 3. They led only once in this game early, 1-0 on a Zucchelli goal, some 30 seconds into the game. Now Townsend with those great legs. The football player will clear, makes a move by one defender. That was the rider, Jerry Ward. Penalty is up. Teams are all even now. And a key possession here for Farmingdale to regain some sort of momentum. Carry down by 3. It's been an uphill struggle just about all night.
Absolutely, and I think it's an indication of the defense that's been played by Melville and not allowing Farmingdale to get into any kind of a rhythm offensively. They're just pressuring them and taking them out of their usual play.
Nobody behind the cage now. You see they isolate for Townsend one-on-one. He had a big goal last year, remember, playing as a long pole midi. He's been hot in the playoffs. 7 of his 9 goals have come in the playoffs. He moves in on Cavino, bounces that one. A good shot. And it goes wide. It'll still be Farmingdale ball. DeRupo to play it behind the cage. On the wing to Cavallo. Playing in the second midfield with Townsend. So the first midfield getting a rest here. Ryzanek playing on the right side. As Cavino with a short stick against him. Ryzanek takes the shot. Easy stop. Not a good shot.
Not a good shot. Well, the defenseman was right in his face when he made the shot.
And another in-and-out violation called against, this time, Catrano, so that Farmingdale gets a break, get the ball back here.
Well, you always tell the goalie to yell ball when he picks it up. He probably didn't do it then, and the defenseman, Fox, hit the man a little bit late.
Minute 43 to go. Timeout taken by Ward Melville as the Patriots look for their 20th win and win number 449. And Joe Cuso, incredible 24-year career. That's more wins than anybody, certainly on Long Island. And you'd have to
no one has 400 anywhere.
Anywhere.
Put it that way.
We thought Bill Rich's record was going to never be broken. Bobby Hartranft broke that. Between the two of these guys, they have almost 800 wins.
I didn't think we'd ever that many lacrosse games played.
Some of the fans enjoying the action. The winner of this game will play the winner of the Mahopac Shaker game being played in Kingston. We'll have that game for you on Cablevision's LISN. It'll be played Thursday, part of a big doubleheader. And Lynbrook will play Yorktown in the other game. That one starts at 4. Hope to see you folks down here at Hofstra. Great weather tonight, big crowd. Nice to see all the folks come out, Bob.
Well, I remember the first time we played, when I played 1967, there was my parents and a few other parents, and we all said hello to each other. And to see them how the sport has grown is tremendous.
And absolutely, you know, this is a script that was written in day 1, number 1 against number 2.
Yeah, you mentioned the sport growing. Long Island will host this year the World Under-19 Championships, one of our sponsors for the game tonight. Happy to have them along. That'll be the end of July and into August. Teams from 6 different countries, including, we're going to have the Iroquois Indians coming here, and Japan.
And Japan also. Now, Japan, I don't know how competitive they're going to be, but they're very serious about creating a lacrosse program.
Of course, in Australia, where you had your honeymoon, lacrosse very popular.
Yes.
They'll have a team.
What I like is Japan sees the fact that lacrosse has discipline. Size doesn't matter as much as other sports. I think they see a lot of things that will allow them to really compete successfully internationally.
And of course the USA team coached by none other than Mr. Bob Hartranft, who was quite successful just this past weekend, beating the college all-stars down in Maryland 16-15.
All right, play back to resume, about to resume here with a minute 41 to go. And counting up the numbers here, checking everybody out. Good job by the crew tonight. Ray Buckley, Al Blau, Steve Murray. Lakey, who has the hardest shot, scores! Russ Lakey, who's been converted to an attackman this year, but was a midfielder last year, has the hardest shot on the team, and they set up a play for him, and he rifled that one home to bring Farmingdale within 2. His 20th goal and only his 3rd in the playoffs. He's had a very fine playoff, Russ Lakey, but he made a lot of noise with that shot.
Well, he set up high in the zone, and he got a pass, and no one checked his stick.
Well, that's exactly what I was just going to point out. You'll see Tahini come at him, but just a little bit late. There's Lakey in the middle. Now look at Tahini come at him after after he gets the shot away, and that's because he set up that crease a little bit high.
Well taken shot off stick side. Tough for the goalie, and Baxo wins the faceoff. Farmingdale trying to close within one. They trailed early 4-3 late in the first half, you'll recall, then gave up that goal in the closing seconds scored by J.J. Arline. Now Baxo looking to isolate against Harold Drum, the sophomore against the veteran and poised senior All-American. Instead, they'll go to Zucchelli against Belford with a short stick. Now Lakey gets the shot off. Good block by Sanders. Got to that, checked the shot.
I really think they've got to move the ball quicker. There's too much standing around. Baxo takes the ball and spends 20 seconds looking at it.
Let's watch the goalie's reaction here on that goal.
Well, he made the right reaction, but just a little bit slow. Bring the head of the stick across your face to stop a shot like that.
Boy, Lakey really rifled that one, didn't he? 55 seconds to go. We should be headed for another incredible fourth quarter. Zucchelli shot knocked down by Cotrano. Lakey coming up with the ball. Zucchelli shot broken up again. Force that one. They try to get Zucchelli should have picked that ball up. Box chasing after it with the long pole. I'm trying to come up with it. He does. Gets by Tahini. I'm stumbles. I'm moving in. Shoots. Oh! And we get a flag thrown on the play.
And that's what they've got to do. They've got to take the ball. A kid like Brian Imes has got to drive to that goal, drive to it, and force the man to get a penalty. Probably a hold.
And we'll get a penalty call. 1 minute penalty, elbow.
A high check, I think. But you're right, Bob. That's exactly what Farmingdale has not done for almost three periods, is that they have not gone strong to the cage. As we saw, that last shot hit the goalie, Cotrano, on the save.
Let's take another look at that last goal. Russ Lakey, or there is Lakey on the sideline there. So a man-up situation here for Farmingdale. This is their first opportunity here. And what a key time. 20 seconds to go. Cutting down Baxo. Good stop, Cotrano.
Great
as he
save.
held the pipe and stopped that shot. Baxo trying to chase it down with 12 seconds to go. Time running out in this third quarter. And with 6 seconds to go, goes out of bounds. And who's going to get it? Looks like
I see a lot of hands pointing two ways. Yeah.
Which way did he go?
I think Farmingdale should just hold the ball and get it to start the fourth quarter.
They will have possession if they hold on. And ball for the remaining 6 seconds. Joe Cuso on the sideline with Ray Weeks, Bob Hoppy, the rest of the coaching staff, and Bill Martens, the defensive genius. That's it. They just hold on to the ball. And we head to the fourth quarter with the Ward Melville Patriots holding a 2-goal lead. They led by 2 at the end of 1, by 2 at the half, and after 3, they hold that 2-goal lead again. We'll be back on Cablevision's Long Island Sports Network.
And I think he's just saying, let's keep our poise. Let's not get rambunctious. Let's not get carried away here with the play. Let's play the game that we want to play.
All right, Bob Hartenrath, what is he saying?
Well, he said, look, the fourth quarter is our quarter. Virtually every game we played in the last 4 or 5 games, the fourth quarter has been ours. And I'm sure that's what he's telling his players now. We're within 2 goals in a lacrosse game. That's not a whole lot. They can score right now. They're down by 1 goal, and it's their quarter. I would emphasize that for morale, for psychological reasons, that we've always come on strong in the fourth quarter.
They have been a fourth quarter team, and of course they had a big fourth quarter last year to win that game 8-7. The only time they've beaten Ward Melville in a Long Island championship game. By the way, there's going to be another big tournament here on Long Island this year, the East End Cup Lacrosse Tournament, July 18th and 19th at East Hampton High School. That'll feature some of the top players in college and club lacrosse. The event will feature a fastest shot contest and a Division I coaches clinic, all invited. That's 11 a.m. Saturday, July 18th. The Gate brothers supposed to come down and play in that one.
There's something very special to watch, I'll tell you, Gary and Paul. And you know, they're great dancers. I never realized that until I got to Australia. You could be on dance fever.
All right. We'll begin play here with Farmingdale just having a few seconds left in a man-up. We'll keep an eye on the man coming out. Should be momentarily. Tahini is still in the box. Farmingdale 6-on-5 here. Swing it behind. Up top, trying to get it to Lakey, but the pass broken up.
Can't pass through a zone.
They're still down a man. They have the ball here. Farmingdale down a goal. Swing it on the wing. This is Cavallo. Not a good choice there. Drum picked that pass off.
I don't think you heard me the last time. You can't throw through a zone.
And the team should be all even right now. Catrano looking to clear. They go on two-man ride on him. Over to Drum. Drum finds the open man, D'Alessio, number 3. James D'Alessio. And Belford will bring it across. Almost a minute gone here in the 4th quarter. Ward Melville looking for their 9th Long Island championship. And leading it by 2. Here's Selig, who's played an outstanding game behind against Bardak. Carney has had his hands full with Mott. This is Cavallo playing Belford. Now Sanders picked up by Baxo. Mills cuts as Sanders sweeps left. Here's Mills, who's had a couple. Belford has it checked out of his stick. Bardak, good play. And here's Baxo with an empty move on the fast break, trying to cut the deficit. Ryzanek, a look in front. Oh, and the shot knocked down. Beautiful play that time. And again, Ward Melville, Sanders breaks out.
Catrano, excellent, I think, in the goal and clearing the ball and getting the offense going.
Sanders with a shot. Tufano looks to outlet it. And this is what Farmingdale has to do. They've got to gamble a little bit. They've got to get some transition because they've been standing around too much 6-on-6. And as you said before, Bob, not moving the ball crisply enough to beat the zone.
Well, again, Baxo threw the ball, I think, a little too late, so he got in too close to goal and could get a pass back on that fast break. But that's what they've got to do. They've got to use the transition game.
Ryzanek beats his man as he made a nice move on Fox out near midfield. Pass back to Ryzanek. He got checked, and there's going to be a flag on the play as he got the shot off. Catrano made the save up high. Wasn't, well, he was checked, didn't get much on it. Ward Melville with some nice defense, but they did commit a penalty, and it'll be a 1-minute penalty here.
The other thing is both goalies, this is a little unusual, both goalies are left-handed. So he shoots up into the goalie's stick to Catrano, and actually they should be used to shooting away from practice.
It'll be a slash on Tahini. So Ken Tahini, one of their long pole key defensemen, sitting it out right now for 1 minute. Farmingdale with a golden opportunity to close within 1. Cross-field pass that was thrown by DeRupo over the head of Zucchelli, but he hustled it down. See if they try to set up Lakey up top. They isolate him up top. That's Lakey. Takes the crank shot. Oh, Catrano made the stop easily. And Catrano out of the cage, chased by Ryzanek, chased by Eim. He's got great speed. Now Baxo will try to get a piece of him. Knocks him down.
Be open.
Ball loose. The net is open. Drum back playing defense as a goalie. Baxo moves in, shoots, and Drum makes the save. Oh,
I can't believe it.
Drum.
What a save by Harold Drum.
And now they'll bring it down. Sanders, that could be the turning point in the game. Sanders on the crease. It goes wide. Let's see if they'll call it a pass. They're calling it a pass. And it'll go back over to Farmingdale, Bob.
And the referee was fighting in the corner.
Harold Drum, we talked about being a super sophomore. He plays goalie here, Kerry, and like Bob Rule, comes up with a big play.
And he comes up with that big play. Look at him, how cool he's standing in the goal. You know, he's done this all along, hasn't he? Well, and he's showing a lot of poise.
He's got to be an exceptional athlete to play at this level for Ward Melville. What happened to 2 of the Farmingdale players were fighting with the referee as to saying that someone was out of bounds in that corner.
All right, be that as it may, Farmingdale not able to take advantage of their man-up situation. Walrap checked in midfield by the aggressive Drum. Drum comes up with the ball. Second big play for Harold Drum here in the 4th quarter. Over to Covino. And with 6:25 to go, leading by 2, Ward Melville has it. Remember back in 1989, Ward Melville trailed by 3 goals with 3 minutes to go, tied it in the closing seconds. Here's Arline coming in to Nagel, score! J.J. Arline setting that one up again. He's played a dandy of a game, and Nagel converts to make it an 8-5 game with 6:11 to go.
That was speed, sheer speed.
And Arline, J.J. Arline just does a super job as we see him dump it off to Nagel.
He can draw so well, and he dumped it beautifully, as we see here, Kerry.
Look at J.J. just go hard to the cage. He's got 2 defensemen beat, and as soon as the slide comes to him from the crease area, that opens it up. The door opens up for Nagel, and Nagel wisely, too, goes to the ball. He doesn't stand waiting for the ball to come to him.
He went through Townsend and back, so 2 very, very tough players.
Well, Bob Hardraff said if they started to run, he felt that Ward Melville's second midfield was better than his, and you saw the result right there.
Nagel with 2 goals, Selig with 2, and of course, Jared Mills with 2 big goals. They've scored 6 of the 8. Arline has had a goal and 2 big assists in this game. Drum coming up with that ball to Belford. Here's Nagel again. Pass intended for his teammate Selig. Goes out of bounds. Another look at the pretty goal set up by J.J. Arline as he gets by Walrap initially.
And then look at the dump. Smart play. And look at Nagel come to the center of the field to get that pass and put himself in a good position.
What I liked is J.J. Arline showed his right hand and forced the defender to go over a little bit. Then he switched to his left hand and drove to the goal.
He's really taken over the last 2-3 weeks of the season. He's come up big in the playoffs, and as we mentioned earlier, played just a superb game against Sachem. And also, as you've seen, a good defensive player. All right, Farmingdale with time becoming a factor. 5:40 left, down by 3. They led early 1-0, and that's been it. They've been behind the 8 ball ever since. Townsend against Drum. So they'll go with Townsend. Try to isolate perhaps against the long pole of the sophomore Harold Drum, who had that big save as a goalie just a short time ago. Townsend drives right, gets doubled, checked out of his stick. D'Alessio trying to scoop it up. Townsend with a hit. But nevertheless, Ward Melville has the ball. Covino can't control it. Baxo trying to get to it. Good play by Covino to keep the ball on the ground. Covino all over Baxo. Nagel raking. Penn trying to get it. And let's see what the call will be here.
Interference going to be the call against Farmingdale. Good call by the official, right on it. Mr. Buckley made an excellent call there.
Timeout now taken by Ward Melville. 4:49 to go. A break in the action. We'll be back with more exciting championship lacrosse on Cablevision's LISN.
The more you know, the more successful you can be.
It feels good to know what I want to do in life. I can get a job like that.
I'll be finishing college 2 years earlier.
I've got the winning edge.
Bosie's Tech Center, the power to succeed.
Lacrosse is America's fastest growing and most exciting sport. For all your lacrosse needs, it's Ullman Sports International. Ullman has the best in protective equipment. Custom sticks with exclusive Ullman pockets. The latest t-shirts, team jerseys, shorts, jackets, and a full line of officials gear. Ullman Sports International has everything you need to play your best and look great doing it. For a free catalog, call 1-800-BEST-STICK.
Has him. If they throw over your head, the defenseman comes up and we slide. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go, pass. Spread the field offensively now so they have longer slides.
Bring it in, Melville.
Right now. Right now.
Well, we heard Bill Martens, the brain trust of the defense for Ward Melville, talking about the slides on the offside, and of course they want to make sure that on the offensive end of the field, Joe Cuso telling his players to open it up a little bit, make those slides a longer slide, which again has been in the strategy for much of this game, Bob, to keep their to keep those Farmingdale support players off the ball.
They've got to keep with their game plan. Don't get over anxious, especially when Farmingdale starts to drive the goal. I always say as a defensive coach, offense for show, defense for dough. Right now, Bill Martens is my man. He's given up 5 goals to an explosive team with a great game plan.
Yeah, here is Port Washington holding Farmingdale to only 6 goals the last time they played. So the offense hasn't really gelled the last 2 games.
I think a big part of it is they don't play a tough enough schedule. It's not their fault. There's just not enough good teams around to really harden them.
Well, you could say the same thing in Suffolk County. Ward Melville didn't play that tough a schedule. Farmingdale did play Mayapack, a pretty strong team. They're playing in the A sectional. And Ward Melville, I guess they were supposed to play Yorktown. That game was rained out.
Or snowed out.
Snowed out earlier in the year. Here's Selig, who's had a superb game, gets in, and that could be the finisher. Josh Selig with his 3rd goal of the game. And a good-looking junior gives Ward Melville a 4-goal lead with 4:21 to go. Well, he's only all-league. I'd hate to see him all-world maybe next year. Now a about that just moments ago?
Selig slapping his stick down as the Farmingdale bench would normally do after a Farmingdale goal.
Well, Josh Selig.
Watch him here, as you'll see. He's going against Bardak, the big player. And again, Selig, as he's done for much of the night, taking him one-on-one, protects the stick very well. You saw him bring that stick around right in front, looks it in the mask so that Bardak can't get that wrap check in.
Bob, you pointed it out earlier. No question that the one-on-one strategy of Ward Melville against the very good Farmingdale zone defense has been all in the favor of Ward Melville. They just beaten him on the one-on-one situations. They've been quicker, and they've had the good sticks, and they've made good shots tonight.
And that was typical also. Because they're spread out so wide, Farmingdale didn't have a backup, so when he went one-on-one, there was no backup when he got beaten. Bardak got beaten.
You heard Joe Cuso saying that. Let's keep the slides wide, open up the field, so they won't have the backup.
And they've really forced Farmingdale to come out of their zone a lot. They're playing much more man-to-man than I think than we've seen them in the last two games.
Backso, well, when you're behind, you've got to force the play a little bit, and they've been behind the 8-ball somewhat. Backso missing the cage. There is a flag, however, thrown off the ball. There's a player down for Ward Melville. He gets up. And that's Harold Drum, I believe, who's going to be heading off. Backso taking a shot to the head on Harold Drum. That's probably one of the few mistakes he's made all night.
There's the penalty. There it is.
Even then, it was pretty close in terms of a penalty.
Well, Ward Melville has been led by Josh Selig with 3 goals, 2 each for Jared Mild and Mark Nagel. So it's interesting. Sanders, although he hasn't scored, has dominated a lot with his defensive and offensive play on the faceoffs. You don't have to score to play a key part in this game, do you?
And you know what else I would point out, too, that I think has been very successful for Melville has been their man-down defense. They've given up a couple of penalties in the second half. They've been man-down, and I don't think Farmingdale has really had the opportunity to take advantage of it.
Zucchelli shot deflected, and it'll still be Farmingdale ball. Almost critical for them, almost a must for them to score here with 3.5 minutes to go, down by 4. Up top, Lakey tries the crank shot, again misses.
There's no real screen on the crease. They're taking those outside shots. They look good, but the goalie has plenty of time to see the ball.
Reaction time. 2 men behind now. Ryzanek to Zucchelli on that left wing again. Takes the shot. There's Catrano. Excellent position. And Catrano chased by Ryzanek and I'm as they double on the ride here. He splits them. He is quite an athlete here. Oh, Jason Sanders getting set up. And Bardak with a hit, but we do have a flag on the play right here.
Well, if we've ever seen a hospital ball, there it was.
It's kind of a tough call because
a 1-minute penalty, hitting from behind.
That is a tough call. Catrano throws that ball up in the air, and
I don't think that's behind. I think
it was a clean hit.
But I think that they now have a penalty where it's unnecessary to hit a guy like that. It's a dangerous hit, it's called. I think that was more the dangerous hit idea. He could have checked the stick and let the ball go out of bounds, because the guy really is helpless then.
And there is a young man down on the field right now. Remember, Sanders was down earlier in the game. They will have to come back and play Thursday, and Sanders again was the guy who took that hit. I'm not sure if it is Sanders.
It is. Sanders is down.
Right. 11. Trying to catch his wind, perhaps. Well, this great rivalry. It's 4th time in the last 5 years that they've played, and except for last year when Farmingdale got the monkey off their back, it's been Ward Melville that has come out on top. Kind of ironic that Garden City had Ward Melville's number for 3 consecutive years, 85, 86, 87, when they were the dominant team. I think we're going to get an unsportsmanlike against Farmingdale. Let's see what the calls are here.
Cheap ball, right? I'm sure out. We're going to box it up.
Yeah, I'm right. Stay in this end. We're going to get
a ball with cheap out.
Hey, Russell, Jeffrey. What do we got? A minute and a minute?
Russell, Jeffrey.
Minute and a minute. At the same time, minute and a minute.
Jeffrey. Come on, guys. Do it right now. Come on, guys.
Well, Jason Sanders is up on his feet, which is good to see for Ward Melville. I'm sure they're relieved to see that after taking that hard hit.
Well, there are some additional penalties being dished out. I don't know if we're able to pick all of them up here, but Farmingdale did get nailed for an additional penalty.
I think the problem there was, technically speaking, it was a good hit. It wasn't from behind, I don't think. It should have been the dangerous check penalty, which was put in the rule book 3 years ago. And I would agree with that call. From behind, I can understand why the Farmingdale people might be a little upset.
All right, be that as it may, play about ready to resume. Don't forget, we've got more lacrosse coming your way on Cablevision's LISN. Thursday night at 4 and 7, the B and A regional playoffs. Yorktown against Lynbrook. Congratulations to Larry Glenn's team. And we'll have a 6-on-4 situation. And the A game, it looks like right now it's going to be Ward Melville taking on the winner of the Shaker Mahopac game. And remember, Farmingdale already beat Mahopac earlier this year here at Hofstra 5-2. So based on that, if Mahopac gets here, you'd think that Ward Melville would have a big edge. But right now it's going to be a 6-on-4 for Ward Melville with 2 penalties. So it's 6-on-4. They scored earlier, Bob. You'll recall 6-on-4.
Well, they've got such a controlled offense. I think they run a 3-3. They run a very controlled offense, and they should probably eat almost a minute off the clock.
Let's quickly go to Carl Reuter on the field.
All right, Barry, just went over to talk to the officials. The unsportsmanlike in home, which means that it was called on one of the Farmingdale coaches. They can't throw them out of the game. So Bob Rule and Carrie Gluck realize that one of the players will serve that penalty. Gentlemen.
All right, thank you, Carl. And right now, Belford with a loose ball on the field picks it up. Clock stops with 2:46 to go, and it's rather academic right now. Ward Melville in the driver's seat and looking to go up by one more. Mills got the 2 early goals to Belford, to Sanders. Nagel cuts down toward the crease. Again, the 6-on-4. Nobody behind. They're playing a 3-3, actually a 2-3, a 2-2-2 actually right now, with nobody behind though. Mills, pass goes by, and that's what Joe Cuso didn't want to see.
Well, they would be very patient. I think they were doing the very smart thing. They don't have to go to the goal, so there was no point for them to attack right now. Just keep the ball in the perimeter and don't throw the ball away, which is what Joe, I'm sure, is what who told them in the huddle.
A minute is a long time to throw a lacrosse ball. It's amazing how many times you lose it with no pressure at all. I think he looked up, looked where he was going to throw the ball for the next pass, and he just missed the pass coming to him.
So Baxo will look to clear. Remember, they're down 2 men. Jerry Ward trying to contain him. He'll get by Ward number 16. Ward heads off. And Baxo with his team down 2 men try to get it into the restraining area. Now, one of those penalties should not be releasable. The unsportsmanlike. One man does come back right now. Ball checked from Baxo. He rolls it toward the cage, and DeLessio picks it up. Throws it over the head of his teammate, trying to get it upfield. Bardak with a hit on the far side forces the turnover.
Now that might have looked like it was a little nudge from behind. I don't know.
Now, you like those hits, Bob. You're a defensive guy. You're, you know.
Nudge, though. A little nudge from behind, maybe.
So the ball be put in play by Farmingdale. Less than 2 minutes to go.
Now, if Ward Melville gets the ball back, I think they should practice keeping the ball in the box for that 2 minutes. That could be so important in a close ball game.
Teams are all even now as DeRupo's had a very quiet game. Comes in. Shot blocked again in front. Didn't get through. Ryzanek trying to hustle it down. Goes out of bounds, and it will be Ward Melville ball. So the Daler season about to come to an end, as has so often happened here against the Ward Melville team. They had been undefeated in a couple of those seasons coming into this Long Island Championship, and undefeated once again, but never really peaked in the playoffs, unlike Lynbrook, which seemed to be getting better as the playoffs have worn on. This Farmingdale team struggled the last couple of games and just did not play as well as they were capable of. Petrano, check. Ball will go out of bounds as he was trying to clear, but this young man, he's like an extra attackman or an extra midfielder or an extra defenseman. He can do it all. He's played a great game indeed.
I can see why Joe Cuso feels he might be his best goalie ever.
And of course, I think what makes him one of the better goalies around is the fact that he is so dangerous in a clear.
He's not afraid to carry the ball upfield,
and he's not afraid to take a hit. And you saw him more than once tonight take a hard hit.
Heim will score the goal off the miss by Zucchelli, but it's academic right now. Just makes it a little bit closer, makes it 9-6 with 1:15 to go. Brian Heim gets his second goal of the game. But it's interesting that really the midfield, which so much was expected out of, has not developed, not scored a whole lot today. Here's Zucchelli, who misses with the right hand, normally a left-handed shooter.
Oh, I think it looked like that ball might have hit off somebody's shoulder, And Brian Ime alertly going to the ball on the scoop and going right hard to the cage with his left hand. Alert play by Brian Ime.
And he made the shot that had to be made, which was to the far corner away from the goalie stick bounce shot.
Back so with 1:10 to go. They need to get a shot quickly here. They can't use the time up. Townsend will move in, gets in, checked out of his stick. Another good defensive play. Tahini was there. And Drum back to Catrano. He's the quarterback on the team. And with under a minute to go, Ward Melville with possession. And on their way to another Long Island championship, their 9th in 15 tries. Mills trying to chase it down. Instead, Mott will pick it up. He's bounced by Bardak. Bardak runs all over Sanders. He's been a target all night. Cavallo picks it up with 25 seconds to go. Nice pass. Ryzanek in close scores, or rather Lakey. And it makes it 9-7, but again with 22 seconds left. A little bit too little, too late. Well, with 22 seconds left, maybe it isn't over, but
not until the fat lady sings, you know it.
This is what Farmingdale should have been doing the whole game. They're taking advantage of every mistake the woman makes. They're pounding people when they have to, but they woke up late.
Well, they picked up the tempo in this fourth quarter. That's where they picked up the tempo, and that's where they've been most successful. This is their game, I think. This is a hard, aggressive, hitting, defensive game that gets that ball into that transition, and then they go hard to the cage. And this is what they haven't done, I don't think, from early on.
Well, they've gotten goals from the attack. Lakey gets his third. Imes had a couple of goals, but they're not getting goals from the midfield, which is, again, Baxo and Zucchelli, a couple of guys they figured to get a lot of points from.
They did not do. Baxo and Zucchelli didn't penetrate, and it's tough against the Ward Melville zone. Speaking from vast experience, it's tough for a midfielder to penetrate against a defenseman that's 215 pounds and is very mobile, and I think these guys do that.
But Harold Drum's more in the Peter Murphy mold, 5'9", 160.
But quick, he's very quick.
Here's the replay of that last goal, a behind-the-back pass by Ryzanek, and a nice outside shot, low, hard shot taken by Russ Lakey.
Let's get another quarter in this game and see what happens.
Well, Lindbergh did score earlier tonight, 2 very quick goals, but I think Jason Sanders, this Ward Melville team is just too good to give up 2 goals in 22 seconds.
I get a feeling to see Harold Drum up on the face-off.
But if you'll recall last year, Ward Melville, or rather Farmingdale led by 2 goals. Ward Melville came back and scored a goal in the last minute and had a chance to tie the game on a shot that went wide in the closing second.
And it's interesting to see what happens right now with Sanders on the face-off, because Sanders, Jason, just took a hard hit at the other end of the field by Bardak, which coughed up the ball to start that transition going.
So they'll face off Sanders against Baxo. Face-offs have been pretty even tonight.
Farmingdale didn't start to play tough, I thought, till they got frustrated. See if they get frustrated a little bit earlier in the game.
Face-offs are 8-8, by the way. Sanders comes up with a big one here, and Ward Melville with 15 seconds now left. Sanders chased by Zucchelli.
Sanders wants to try and run out the clock. I think he should really try and give it off.
Townsend nearly strangles him. It'll be a penalty, but it's academic right now. The game will end before the penalty will go in effect. Arline will play it, and that is it. So many heroes for Ward Melville as they win the Long Island Championship. How often have Joe Cuso and Bill Martens embraced in victory, Kerry Gluck, over the years?
Oh, so many times. I'm sure Joe Cuso's memories, none can be finer than what's right at the immediate moment.
Well, they wanted to avenge last year's loss, and they have. Impressively, 9-7 the final score as they beat Farmingdale. Standing by down to the field, Carl Reuter with Joe Cuso.
Barry, thanks very much. You're sweating Joe Cuso, but you had some tears in your eyes when you just walked over here. That's all right. Go ahead. Settle down.
Excuse me, Carl. I have some great feelings for these kids. I mean, they were so determined this year. They wanted back at Farmingdale real bad, I can tell you that. But kids were classy, kept their mouths shut, and just played Ward Melville lacrosse.
We spent a lot of time together yesterday and talking about this game. You said Greg Catrano might be your best goalie. I think he proved that tonight.
He was absolutely outstanding, and the game went pretty much as I thought it would. Not a real high-scoring game, two excellent teams, and we were fortunate to come out on top.
For a time there, for about 4 or 5 minutes in the fourth quarter, Harold Drum out of nowhere playing excellent on defense with the long pole.
Harold's only a sophomore, and he's been playing like a senior for us all year, and he did a great job against their All-American Brian Baxo.
You said 50% of the face-offs. If you won, you thought you'd be successful. I think your guys did the job tonight, Sanders and Roth, beating Baxo to a lot of those face-offs.
Yeah, Jason was excellent on face-offs, and I thought our attack played very well. Particularly Josh Selig, our junior attack man. I thought he had an outstanding game.
Ready to celebrate? Because I would imagine right now when number 2 beats number 1, not only are you the Long Island Class A champs, you're number 1 in New York State right now.
Well, we're celebrating for now, but we still have a game coming up on Thursday that we have to get ready for, Carl.
Time to go join the team, Joe. Congratulations on another win.
Thank you very much.
All right, Joe Kuzo, the happy coach. His team defeats Farmingdale by the count of 9-7. Long Island Class A champs, the Patriots of Ward Melville. Barry, Carrie, and Bob back to wrap it all up right after this final timeout. Stay with us.
A commitment to intellect, a commitment to you. In the true